समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Chandrababu Naidu bathes for my blood. This is a subhead in Subhash Chandra Garg's new book, No Minister. In the section, the former Finance Secretary of India writes how the Naidu-led Andhra Pradesh had cornered more than 40% of the total portfolio of projects approved by the World Bank in 1999-2000. And I quote him, the government of India and the World Bank, it seemed, existed primarily for Andhra Pradesh. That was in 2000. The TDP provided crucial support to the Atal Bihari Vajpayee-led government then. Garg was the director of the Department of Economic Affairs in the Finance Ministry. He writes that the hoarding of resources was clearly unfair and lopsided. The World Bank assistance, specifically cheaper credits from the International Development Agency, was meant for low-income and poorer states. Garg writes, and I quote, using the efficiency of his administration and his political clout, Chandrababu Naidu was able to maneuver the system in Delhi, including the DEA, to divert a disproportionate part of the Government of India budget and external assistance to Andhra Pradesh, unquote. He has cited another example. In 2001, the Andhra Pradesh structural adjustment loan for $250 million was being negotiated with the World Bank. The package also included a $100 million grant from the Department for International Development, or DFID, to India. The DFID grant and the World Bank loan were to go to Andhra Pradesh on the standard 70-30 loan grant ratio. The Naidu-led government, however, reached an understanding with the DFID without the DEA's concurrence to make it a 100% grant. Garg would not agree to it. So Andhra Pradesh officials called up the Chief Minister, who was in Ireland then. He asked them to agree to the DEA's terms. 2 days after the negotiations were completed, the DEA secretary asked Subhash Garg to again submit the Andhra file to him. The file came back finally with orders approved by the finance minister that an exception be made in the case and that the DFID grant be given to Andhra Pradesh as a 100% grant. Garg writes, and I quote, evidently on his return to India, Chandrababu Naidu had moved heaven and earth and forced the government at the highest level to agree to his completely unjustified demand, unquote. And I quote again, the utter disregard for fair distribution of central government resources to all the states and the manic zeal and insistence to grab all resources for Andhra Pradesh was disturbing, unquote. V. Srinivas, private secretary to then Finance Minister Jaswant Singh, later told Garg that V.S. Sampath, the Andhra Pradesh Finance Secretary, who went on to become the Chief Election Commissioner of India, sought his help to, quote unquote, find ways to fix Subhash. Now, nobody would be surprised to read ex-IAS officer Garg's account of how Chandrababu Naidu used his clout in the Vajpayee government to wangle anything and everything from the center for his state. Subhash Garg's counterparts in other departments would have similar stories to tell. Let me cite just one more example here. Of the 4 million tons of rice the center sanctioned for the Food for Work program between September 2001 and April 2002, Andhra alone got 2.15 million tons. That is 53% of the total. And then it got 1 million tons more. Cut to 2025, Naidu has not changed. Only that it's now the Narendra Modi-led government at the center that is going out of its way to please the Andhra CM. The center has already committed 15,000 crores for phase 1 of the Amravati capital project. The state has secured 12,157 crore rupees from the center to support the final phase of the Polavaram irrigation project. In May, PM Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for central projects worth 5,000 crore rupees, including a missile testing center, Unity Mall, rail overbridge, and 6 national highway projects in Andhra. And these are early days yet. Modi 3.0 still has 4 years left, and Naidu will continue to be vital for its survival. The former Finance Secretary of India has only revived an old debate. Chandrababu Naidu's political rivals and critics have a long list of what they call his political betrayals. Marrying N.T. Ramarao's daughter and then leaving the Congress to join the TDP. Ousting NTR to become the Chief Minister. Leaving the United Front to support the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government in 1998. Lok Sabha Speaker GMC Balayogi from the TDP, allowing then Odisha CM Giridhar Gomang, who was yet to resign as MP, to vote against the confidence motion, which ended up bringing the Vajpayee government down in 1999. Joining the NDA in 1999 Lok Sabha election to reap the electoral dividends of the Kargil war. Demanding Narendra Modi resign as Gujarat CM post 2002 rights, to joining hands with him ahead of the 2014 election, leaving the NDA for the Congress 5 years later, only to re-embrace Modi before 2024 Lok Sabha and Assembly elections. It's certainly a long list. Naidu's critics would call them examples of political opportunism. His admirers would cite them as examples of his brilliant political acumen and his ability to play bigger national parties to his advantage. And ex-IAS officer Subhash Garg, as a neutral observer, is only the latest to certify that Andhra Pradesh has made the biggest gains from Chandrababu Naidu's political somersaults. I call it his Andhra First politics. Take a look at this report by India Today in May 2002, and I quote, "Over the past 5 years, Naidu has managed to get the central ministries to pour over 40,000 crore rupees into Andhra Pradesh. While the central loans have doubled in 5 years from 1575 crores to 3189 crores, grants have jumped from 1528 crore to 3425 crores. And external assistance has trebled from 1118 crores to 3640 crores. That the state has cornered the lion's share of resources is proved by just one statistic. While central grants to all states increased by only 2.6% between 2001 and 2001 and 2002, Andhra Pradesh's share rose by 34%, unquote. The report quoted Congress MP Renuka Chaudhary as saying that Naidu's success in extracting resources was due to a, quote-unquote, a weak center vulnerable to political blackmail. When you talk to Congress MPs today, as the Modi-led government showers Naidu's Andhra with generosity, these opposition MPs echo similar sentiments. But ask the people in Andhra Pradesh, they would repeat the Onida TV slogan, neighbors envy, owners pride. Chandrababu Naidu, at 75, is the third oldest CM in India today, after Kerala's Pinarayi Vijayan, who is 80, and Karnataka's Siddaramaiah, who is 76. CBN, as he is known in the state, could afford to rest on his laurels, creating something like Cyberabad and Genome Valley in Hyderabad would have been a lifetime achievement for any chief minister. Instead, Naidu is setting new challenges for himself. As Naidu told me in an interview last month, and I quote, "Same things like Cyberabad can't be created, but improved versions can be brought." It's not just the creation of the new capital city of Amravati. CBN has now set out to build India's first quantum computing valley. He has launched a space policy to leverage Sriharikota's strategic location in Andhra Pradesh. This policy aims to attract investment worth 25,000 crore rupees in space-linked industries. He's very optimistic about his zero poverty, P4, that is Public-Private People Partnership Program. I could tell this by the childlike excitement in his voice when he was telling me about P4. At a time when most opposition leaders seem to be convinced that poverty can be eliminated only when the rich are made poor, Naidu's P4 is an interesting idea. You don't have to be an Adani or Ambani to participate in it. If you have surplus money to spare, help a family, mentor them, You can do it at the community level as well. What differentiates Chandrababu Naidu from other chief ministers is ideas. Original, imaginative, and innovative. Look at his counterparts in other states. Most of them are doing the same things, often aping each other. At 75, Chandrababu Naidu stands apart. Imagination has no age, wrote senior IAS functionary Ram Madhav, quoting Walt Disney. That was in a column in the Indian Express. He was building a case for PM Modi and RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat to ignore the unwritten 75-year age ceiling for holding office. Age does not matter unless you are a cheese, Madhav wrote. It's true. As I mentioned, Naidu's much younger counterparts in other states already look jaded and spent in terms of originality of ideas or imagination in policy making. Is Modi 3.0 any different? That's food for thought for another column. That's all from me in this episode of Politically Correct. Thanks for watching.